One shot in the dark. And now I'm dead. They killed the world generations ago. Now click. Just wanted to say goodnight to the Fluff Bites. Hope y'all have a good stream. Good morning. Can't hear, but I'll lurk with love. Thank you for lurking with love. I accidentally popped out the activity feed and not the fucking chat bots. Some of you may ask why I would even need the chat bots open since words appear on screen. But they don't always appear on screen. And there are other things. This is One Shot in the Dark and Now I'm Dead. Is inspired by Serial Experiments Lain. I think. I have it on good authority. As with all our streams, things may be discussed or displayed or played that are hard. We may discuss things relating to mental health, self-harm, psychosis, mental illness, kink, and human rights. Viewer discretion is advised. Hey, glad you could make it. I know that the Genicade coordinates were pretty hard to decrypt. Got some bad news for you though. You were followed. Terrible, I know. Anyway, you got maybe 30 minutes for this place is a veritable beehive full of trigger-happy feds. So no pressure. But hey, you wouldn't have signed on if you weren't planning on becoming a martyr. So let's get to work. See the window that just popped up for you? There's a bunch of data here I need you to look through. It was locked in until your biometrics were verified on the terminal. The rest of Apostle put everything on the line for this. Hope you're a fast reader. Eastern Bloc continues construction of mass driver. I'm not a mind reader, so when you're done reading something, just close the window. United States recommends sanctions. UN Secretary Council vetoes proposal by Levi Publican. November 23rd, 2XX. A long hush fell over the chambers of the United Nations Parliamentary Assembly earlier today as the United Nations of America representative pushed for sanctions against the People's Republic of China due to the ongoing construction of a mass driver. If you seek to strain the relationship between the East and West so deeply, then let us take this to the floor for a vote and see where your allies and ours truly stand, quipped the representative for the Russian Federation. The matter of economic sanctions against the PRC was brought to the floor as a largely symbolic gesture, with most nations in attendance declining to cast a vote. The Russian Federation and People's Republic of China exercised their veto power as permanent members of the UN Secretary Council, annulling the publicly disclosed vote result. Tensions between the nations have been growing since the early 21st century and came to the head earlier this year as the USA violated the 1967 Outer Space Treaty this month with the deployment of an anti-satellite weapon. The North Atlantic Treaty Organization, NATO, members states initially opposed the launch of the anti-satellite weapon. However, following the launch of a Russian satellite killer, immediately changed their position on the matter. Go figure. The USA has been constructing their own mass driver, with completion scheduled for later this year. Officially, it is to be a new launching platform for the National Aeronautics and Space Administration, NASA, and as part of their NEO shuttle initiative, however. The astronomers from the European Space Agency have been quick to point out that the conventional commercial spacecraft is more than sufficient for NASA's program, and has warned that it may be a weapon of some sort. Too bad. We reached out to NASA regarding the ESA's concern, but their representatives declined to comment. Man, remember when nations were a thing? Wait, of course you don't. That was before your time. That was before your time. Forgot you're kind of a baby. Baby. Anyway, there's probably more to this. Check your inbox. I'll dig up a few related emails. From Ptolemeos to Cananion. This date, December 23rd to ets. Picturesque, and desert chain. Got that report you asked for, kiddo? This thing doesn't look like any power plant I've ever seen. Check out the first picture. No power lines leading out of the facility, but the place is glowing on an ominous blue. The hell is up with that? I managed to get a close look when I activated the active camo thing you slipped me. Pretty sure you're gonna end up on the receiving end of a firing squad for handing out shit like this, but I'm not giving it back. Too convenient. Check out picture 2. Lots of dudes in hazmat suits. Clean looking lab. Next thing I want to draw your attention to is these plasma tube like things. Looks more like something being contained in there. I'm sure to some layman it just looks like some kind of advanced fusion reactor thingy, but I ain't no layman. Fusion power would be brighter than the goddamn sun, not to mention take a fuck ton of space, and this is something totally different. Check it out. I tripped over something just before I managed to barely get this last one in clear, but check out this warning sign. Seems to indicate something highly explosive. Fusion power would be dangerous, sure, but why warning signs about the explosive materials? Whatever is being contained in those plasma tubes is probably the explosive. Pretty sure we're looking at some kind of weapons facility here. That's all you're getting for now. Telemos signing off. From Juna Bonamerge to Eska Curio. Not Sword Art Online. I'm still waiting on that errant position detection analysis from your agency. I know you said that you'd have your colleague email it to me, but I believe it may have been suppressed by your superiors. I am fully aware of the danger that investigating this may pose to you, but it is of the utmost importance. If the PRC is producing antimatter at the same scale that we believe the USA is, then there could be something truly awful on the horizon. I understand your bandwidth is severely limited while on Mir 2, but there are positron emissions at a high density that the meow. I like to blow on head pads. Oh, Lily, you're such a Lain brain. Perfectly oppressed. Perfectly repressed. So lusciously. What's the word? Lusciously chronically online. Thank you for being a loser. Now this is interesting. There's no record of antimatter containment ever getting past a few antiparticles at a time. Consider it a dead end and shut down to focus on other power sources. This Tuckamus guy sounds pretty interesting. Let's see what else I've got from them. Ooh, 1223 ets. They won't even tell me if it's from the 1900s or the 2000s. Ooh. Initial findings sent to Lain, potentially other clients currently being sought out. My findings indicate that the antimatter containment tubes are comparable with the USA's mass driver. Elsewhere in the building, I saw housings that looked an awful lot like railgun shells. Massive ones. Damn, that's as big as like a fucking 747 engine. Impressive to say the least, but what I overheard was way more interesting. Anti-carbon. That's way more dense than anti-hydrogen. This weapon system is going to be more destructive than anyone can imagine. Gonna begin a deep dig into figuring out how anti-carbon containment was mastered despite there being no news surrounding it. $12.5, probably of the same year. This I'm digging on Levi Publican on the behalf of someone who seems to have it out for the United Press. Guessing they wanted me to get some blackmail on this lady, but decided not to just respond to them. I am far more interested in this weapons test she seemed to find out about. Kinda mentioned about unusual monetary movement in the mining sector from one of her clients. And I'm starting to think all of this might be related. Going to do some in-person scouting in the USA this month and see what I can find. Gonna keep tabs on the Levi lady too. She seems more competent than expected. She's got the balls to try to push stuff that's getting her bosses in trouble. Could be a useful asset in the future. Well, that's disconcerting to say the least. Not even the full intel to this client despite being paid too. I respect the hustle. Even if I don't think hoarding resources is a good idea. Wonder what's up with the spying on that Levi person though. Gonna bring up another article by them. by Levi Publican, November 30th, 2xxx. In a rare document, the Russian president claimed no joint project. Today, the president of the Russian Federation is meeting with the other leaders of the nations of the UN Security Council to deny involvement in the PRC's driver test project, despite a partnership between Roscosmos and the China National Space Administration (CNSA). The president of the United States USA scoffed at the claim, saying that this Eastern Bloc scheme is easier to see than a child's lie. Despite this, both the Prime Minister of the Great Britain, UK, and the President of the French Republic thanked the Russian president for his clarification on the matter. Much like the UN Parliamentary Assembly a week earlier, an uncomfortable silence overcame the room. Press were requested to leave at this point. An eyewitness reported seeing the President of the People's Republic of China, PRC, looking at the Russian president in disbelief. The PRC and Russia entered into an agreement to use the mass driver 10 years before the construction began, and Russia helped to fund the project. Why the Russian president would deny involvement at this stage has been grounds for baseless speculation from various other national leaders. Attempts to reach Roscosmos for comment were met with silence. More details to come. Right. This feels like a dead end. Just more geopolitics. Though I can't find any record of the USA or PRC having any kind of mass driver in the historical archives. Maybe this is just posturing or something? Let's see what a search for the phrase mass driver brings up. Oh, found something. Check out these emails. From Evangelionon to Lab Bias? October 15th to XXX. Confidential shipments. Found out where those shipments your manager seems to delete off the books were going. Should charge you double on the down payment. Their servers were pretty tricky, but no match for me. You'd think they childproof these things, but nope. Let's get into it. Turns out there's some shadow broker, cliche I know, managed to cut a deal with both the US and the PRC and is supplying all kinds of rare earth metals to both countries in their space gun thingy. Looks like a bunch of conflict zones feeling the full brunt of more neo-colonialism, and it's the damn capitalists profiting again, right? Well, yes, but more of that than the, Well, yes, but more than that this time. See, I got a backtrace on some of the SB's traffic. That's Hollywood speak for made up nonsense. I just put some malware on a server they thought was secure. I pinged some place in the middle of nowhere in Australia, did some digging and did some actual hacking, and I think it was some sort of clandestine research facility. Not quite sure what the Aussies want with stoking the second Cold War into a hot one, but I can tell you for sure that these things aren't going to be pretty. Maybe their eggheads just want the rest of the world to look like the Outback? I don't know. Doesn't matter though. If you're going to do anything about what's going on, that's probably where you've got to start looking. From Denise Lee to Evangelionon, October 21st to XXX. Mysteries Untold. You know truth is unseen, so too do I. A great calamity shall befall us soon. Heed this warning, for this is upon you to save us. I have gazed into the abyss. It gazed back. It contained multitudes. Horror beyond reason. A light of destruction. Screams of eternity. But also knowledge. Deeper than the darkest depths. Such is how I found you. I saw this. You know what this is? You know what it does? Find one who created it. This cursed place stands between you. Challenge the world as you always have. There's yet more I know. I mustn't give up the game just yet. To do so assures our loss. Oh man, this Leb guy seems to be digging in some kind of conspiracy. Gonna see if I can't find any personal records by him. Speaking of personal things, you do know our mission, right? You volunteer classified information and agree to break into Central Delamain with the unknown Gadachi, and you don't even know why? Damn, that's one hell of a grudge you got against the GRI. If you're willing to martyr yourself for a cause you don't even know anything about... Alright, I'll give you the cliff notes. Ever since surface reconstruction began, people have been finding artifacts that indicate something is amiss. We at Apostle know that the world presented to the current generation isn't the true world. Something big happened. Something that our operatives have given everything to try to reveal to the world. Your mission is to help me sort through this information and deliver it as a payload on the Veltris malware that Kanan managed to install all over the damn place. Okay, I think I found something from the Lab. Dear Journal, keep hearing things in the middle of the night like a deep moan coming from the mine shaft. I know weird sounds are supposed to be a normal due to gases escaping, but this is different, like something alive. Maybe it's just stress from trying to balance these books. I reached out to that hacker, Kana Neon, and she seemed pretty interested in my findings. I can't really see any reason behind our mining network needing to hide our clients. Aerospace, infrastructure, military, you name it. And we probably got a client or 10. So why hide these shipments? Why are they so big? So much magnetic material. But billions of dollars just got converted to crypto and moved to an unknown wallet, and management doesn't want to look into it? I don't understand. I just don't get it. I'm willing to believe that funding is going towards the movement, but why did we take over those mining sites 3 years ago? Supposedly the money will fund the liberation of all mankind. The oppressors and the superpowers definitely need to know they aren't the only ones with power. So why can't I seem to find any other resistance cells? Ugh, maybe I really am just breathing too many fumes. Dear Journal, I got this weird email from this lady named Denise. Somehow it didn't get sent to my spam folder. I thought it was crazy, but her way of writing was so unnerving that it just stuck with me. It was fun to read until I got to the line that said, "I knows you were there." I read that and then I had this overwhelming sense of being watched by something. Pretty freaky, but I know I've had some serious nerves lately. Didn't respond to the email, even though it seemed to know things about me. Guessing it is just one way my coworkers are fucking with me. Wouldn't be the first time. Didn't think too long about it though, since Kana's response finally came in. Secret military contact hypothesis apparently turned out to be on the nose. Seems like we're funding superpowers fighting each other? That goes against the principles I joined this movement for, but I guess if they destroy each other, there's a chance for us to sweep in and really change things? Wait, shit. There's something out there. I hear footsteps. Okay, signing off for now. Gonna send out the report to my superior and drop an investigate request with one of our contacts, and then go to check out that sound. Gonna keep my AK close to my chest though. Leb beat us. I wonder what became of this guy. Seems like he got the message. He wanted to out, but at what cost? To be honest, I think he was breathing in some kind of fumes, because hearing things like that in the middle of the night while investigating money laundering sounds kind of like his leadership wanted to do away with him or something. Pretty sure he was in Madagascar at the time he wrote those journals. Let's do a quick scan of the local news and see what we can find. Rebel skirmish in Madagascar jungle, least 15 dead. Global Liberation Alliance terrorists unnerved as having African cell by Levi Publican. Again. Weird. November 1st, 2 ets. A skirmish between the Madagascar People's Armed Forces and a resistance group known as the Global Liberation Alliance broke out late in the afternoon on October 31st. Fighting continued into the night with at least 39 civilian hostages on the terrorist group injured in the crossfire. The mining encampment that the GLA had established on the barracks within was subject to a drone strike prior to a surprise attack by the MPAF forces. It is currently unknown why the MPAF waited so long to make a move on the GLA operatives, as their location had been known for at least 2 years. Despite the delay, the action is being heralded by some of a decisive strike against the mysterious terrorist group. One of the estimated 20 insurgencies were killed in action. It seems the remainder are in captivity, but this is yet to be confirmed. Kind of a bad article, isn't it? Unusual for Levi, too. I can't help but wonder if her bosses are just posting garbage under her name. Good way to end a career. Definitely related to the Leb incident, though. Thing is, I'm not sure that the government actually know about the camp. Western news media were well known for printing lies because their populaces wouldn't question it. Gosh. Can't but wonder if Leb made it out alive. I checked out to see if there was any more correspondence between Leb and Ptolemos, but didn't come up with anything. However, a search related to the materials Lebs brought me to a reference to that Australian lab that kinda hacked into. Christmas Eve. Ets. Flabbergasted to say the least, fully expecting some government goons to come knocking on my door any minute now. I pinged Kana's deep web crawlers and found something interesting. A weapons lab in Australia was producing a novel antimatter containment technology. What's more is that the operations were scrubbed separately even from the Australian Secret Intelligence Service's records. It may be located in Australia, but it isn't the work of the Aussies. I managed to use one of my investigative drones to hack into their security camera's feed and turn the camera towards the monitor. Video recording is as follows. I seriously don't understand why someone would put such cryptic nonsense on a monitor, but I thought about it and I think I figured it out. The USA and PRC are going to both fire their mass drivers at the same time on Christmas, probably at a time whose numbers relate to death in some culture and time system. Sounds like a conspiracy nut reading this back. I sound like a conspiracy nut reading... excuse me. I sound like a conspiracy nut reading this back, but anti-carbon? Something is going down. Interesting, wouldn't you say? Pretty cultish too. Gotta sell some serious firepower if Ptolemos is correct. Not sure if there's any connection between the materials and the mine and the mass driver yet, but at the least it seems like we've got a tangled web of interactions going on. Speaking of Kana, I found more really weird email correspondence to her. Think it's the same person that emailed Leb spoken in that journal? There was an email from Denise I found earlier I threw at you, but I guess it gets weirder. From Kananil to Denise Lee and Haria. Mysteries Untold. How the hell did you get this email? Seriously, I don't know what kind of a creep you are, but it ain't anyone who gets past my spam filter. This some kind of business offer? Interview for a spy agency? Well, I ain't interested. Kid like me's got a hell of a lot more interesting things to do than some stuffy geopolitics. Word of advice to you. Don't use your real name, dumbass. Denise, Lee, and Hera to Evangelionon. Reread Mysteries Untold. Inexplicable forces. That is your answer. The scion of materials, metallic values. What you have the power to know. Already you are tangled in the web of fate. I wish only to sever the thread of annihilation from this story. Soul Tech. Soul Tech? No, Soul Tech. I have the power to know who they are, but the power is merely sight, limited. The more I look, the weaker I grow. It cannot be conquered so easily. It cannot be defined. But I know that they will stand idly by as oblivion marches towards all. Excuses to preserve power. Excuses to play with the devil's tools. As it ever was. From Evangelionon to Denise, Lee, and Hera. October 22nd to XXXX. Look, Denise, I don't have a fucking clue who you are or why you're out here typing some lunatic cult leader, but typing like some Look, Denise, I don't have a fucking clue who you are or why you're out here typing like some lunatic cult leader, but it's clear you've got some kind of threat that you're some kind of threat to my clients. You're gonna regret that you looked into them. Mark my words. No. More like, look, Denise, I don't have a fucking clue who you are or why you're out here typing like some lunatic cultist leader, but it's clear you got some kind of threat to my clients. You're gonna regret that you looked into them. Mark my words. No one messes with Evangelionon and gets away with it. Stupid adults and thinking you can get away with anything? That's the job of the youth of the world. Or so I'd say if I were any normal brat. I'll bite. Maybe you're a spy or something, playing some geopolitical game. That stuff's fun, trust me, I know. You gonna lay off the cryptic speak though? I tried that when I was 8 and it never seemed to work. A few years later, and I know way better. So listen to my mining company client. Sure, why not? Probably more money in figuring out why the USA and PRC are doing what they're up to anyway. I'm not paying you though. Work on your delivery. Before you ask, I already did a search and couldn't find any correspondence between this and Denise Leb, but I'm almost positive the mining contract she references is Leb. What worries me here is that Leb didn't write as though he had talked to her at all. So what gives? Spooky. One thing's for sure, a lot revolves around this kind of lady. She seems really familiar for some reason. Oh well, I'm an information processor, not a conspiracy theorist. Let's dig up some more to see what we've got on them. From Evangelionon to Levi Publican, December 4th to XXX. Heard you can help. So first, heard you can help. Switch correspondence. Same day. Dear Ms. Evangelionon, I am a journalist for the United Press Works, seeking your expertise in a potentially delicate matter. This isn't a request for an interview, comment, or anything to do with writing a story about this correspondence. I think my life may be in danger, but hey, that's the honor of a journalist. I don't know if you read our publication, but I've been attempting to cover the controversy surrounding this whole mass driver business between the USA and PRC. While that gets the typical disdain from the government officials that all members of the press are subjected to, I was earlier today subject to something wholly different. My article was redacted and my credit removed. That's not unusual. Journalists fly too close to the sun all the time and the boss has to be a little bitch. Problem was, some people in suits were in his office just before my article got pulled. I need you to look into the flash in the night sky north of the Mariana Islands. I feel like someone knows something that they're trying to cover up. Even if I have to self-publish, I was in on the scoop, and I'm willing to shell out big time. Ain't often a high-tech destroyer just goes missing at the same time people are seeing weird lights. Okay. retrofitted destroyer. Still. Thing is, people in the Islands also saw those lights. Don't think it's a coincidence. You in? Alright, lady, just get some things straight. Alright, lady, let's get some things straight. You really gotta work on your articles. Either that or your editor sucks. Also, cut it with that formal shit. I'm not your colleague, I'm a hacker prodigy. So let's get into it. I already checked a bunch of different astronomical reporting servers for unusual activity around the afternoon on December 2nd. You're gonna love what I found. But it isn't gonna come cheap. But don't worry, I already took the liberty of having your bank wire me my standard rate. You're welcome, really. What I discovered was really unusual. See, there was nothing there at all. Until yesterday, someone infiltrated NASA, ESA, RFSA, CNSA, JAXA, CNES, and a bunch of others to add a meteorite event in the approximate location to where the ship vanished. Except the Aussies to come back in a week reporting that a car-sized meteorite struck their ship or something like it. Except it wasn't that at all. See, the USA has got some mass driver they've been building, and well, it's not done yet, but one of the firing arcs was finished last month. Saw some chatter about testing the part of the system independently. Don't know how they did it. Don't really care. What I do know is that there was a burnout reported in the vicinity of Congar Mountains in Utah on December 2nd, right when that flash was reported. Pretty sure that was what we call a live weapons test. Leave it to a failing empire to scuttle someone else's ship. Question is, did the Royal Navy know about this and authorize it? Or was this an act of war? Conspiracy? Accident? Juicy stuff, yeah? Try not to get killed by the men in black when you publish the stuff, though. Tip: you're weak to bullets! I got done hanging out with my girlfriend. Hanging out and talking with my girlfriend. What kind of game is this? It's very interesting. It is a sci-fi dystopic cloak and dagger information gathering thriller? It's about an unspecified time in the future where there's a second Cold War and misinformation is at the height it's ever been, and journalists and government officials and hackers are all in a web of intrigue, and your character is trying to gather enough information to give to rebels in order to do something about it once the dust clears and China and America shoot giant waves of energy at each other, killing probably hundreds of thousands of people. At least that's what I've gleaned so far. Free healthcare, okay. Oh, also, you have the cute AI in the middle helping you out. Also, I think one of the hackers is like 11 or 12. Very Lain brain. One of the main writers on this game is a video essayist that goes by Hazel, who mostly makes YouTube content about anime, but occasionally video games. About 2 hours ago, I didn't even know this game existed. I fell asleep kind of early, woke up at like 2 a.m. and decided to finally watch a video that Hazel made like a while back about the Serial Experiments Lain PS1 game, And towards the end of it, she mentioned this game. She mentions this game, which she also had mentioned, like, yeah, I was part of this. And it got me interested, and I have had a psychotic awakening tonight. So, why not get into some conspiracy theory bullshit? Anyway. One thing's for sure, a lot revolves around this kind of lady. He seems familiar for some reason. Oh well, I'm an information processor, not a conspiracy theorist. Let's dig up what more we got on him. Looks like Levi's good at finding people, given that this kind of seems pretty secretive. The reference to an event around December 2nd is interesting though. Let's see if I can't find something related to that. The same article twice. Australian naval vessel goes missing in the Pacific Ocean. Bright flash of light reported north of the Mariana Islands earlier in day by United Press. December 4th, 2 This one doesn't have a credit at all. The Royal Australian Military RAN has declared an emergency search and rescue mission after a Hobart-class destroyer was reported missing in the afternoon of December 2nd. Attempts to reach the vessel failed, and reports by civilians near the ship's last known coordinates indicated a brilliant flash in the sky. The RAN has assured the public that the two events are likely coincidental, as meteorites are a common sight in the Pacific Ocean skies due to lower levels of light pollution. Oh, the other thing about the game is like, oh, I only have a limited amount of time to do everything because the FBI is gonna break in and kill me. I'm basically martyring myself to be a human eyes to process the information and send the information to the right people so they can do something about it. Wait, is this the actual time? Yeah, the time displayed in the upper right hand corner is the actual time. And the actual day. Today is the 17th. Nice. Jonah Bonerberg Escakiro. December 24th, 2 Shelter. I thought your suggestion was just space hysteria or something when it came in. Then I saw a news report that the PRC is planning to fire a spacecraft tomorrow from their fully operational mass driver. Who conducts tests in just 2 days? That makes no goddamn sense. Plus, I saw some engineering going on about how the USA's mass driver looks suspiciously like the PRC's. He assumes that the USA is just stealing Chinese tech as usual. You know how desperate they can get and all. But I emailed a guy I drank with once over at NASA and managed to get a picture. of it. Glad the guy is still a drunkard. Take a look. The PRC news footage looks exactly like this damn photo. I'm no engineer, but I know that you don't get complete brand new technology and then immediately jump to using it before doing significant testing. Nor does your arch nemesis generally get to make an incidental piece of tech. Despite that, the Americans like to claim that back in the 80s, even the Buran wasn't the space shuttle, but they're definitely the same thing, at least superficially. But that's not the only thing that seems perturbed at all. The EU doesn't seem perturbed at all. But that's not the only thing that's disturbing me here. The EU doesn't seem perturbed at all. Such a clear violation of space safety would normally at least get a pointless protest out of the EU, but not a peep. It's like they know what's up or something. Heard rumors that military forces in Balax started doing exercises last night. Starting to think NATO is about to pull some shit. I'm gonna try to use my standing with the ESA to get myself into the Mars isolation training bunker today. If something is going down, I'll at least be safe in there? Damn place could probably survive an alien invasion or something. From Eska Kiro to Jonah Barang, December 22nd, 2 XXX. Riri, mass driver inquiry. Jonah, something is seriously wrong. I didn't get a response. I waited a whole day after you tried to follow up with me, and then a half-corrupted email came through. Some lab technician's final desperate plea. Someone is cleaning house and they killed my partner on the surface. I'm really not sure how to feel. I barely knew him, but why? He started showing concerns that something was amiss after he started looking into the position detection, but I can't even imagine why that would be a reason to off someone. Then, the next day, our Earth observation instruments picked up something from North America, a tiny gamma ray signature in the middle of the Utah Badlands. Someone is definitely manufacturing anti-protons out there. If our EOI array hadn't been configured for assisting with graviton detection, I don't think I'd have been sensitive enough to pick up the gamma rays. I don't think it'd have been sensitive enough to pick up the gamma rays. We're not on a secure channel in the least here. Can't get on one either. I'm safe for now since that's what the We're not on a secure channel in the least here. Can't get on one either. I'm safe for now since what's the USA gonna do? Shoot down MIR too? But you really need to get somewhere safe. Now. Something bad is going down and the usual players are probably cleaning house even as we speak. And by somewhere safe, I don't mean a safe house or something like that. You need to get into a fallout shelter, somewhere well stocked. Plead with your superiors about some sensitive experiments or something. I don't know how, but just get it done. That's some array detection that the PRC's mass driver is conducting final tests. Oh, they mean they're gonna fucking fire the driver at your ass. Don't send a man to do the job of a giant weapon of mass destruction. This isn't some overblown Cold War fear. The USA is almost done with their own. These things are weapons. Hot. I feel it in my gut. What we got? Found out some files from around late December for you. Did a search for references to Utah. And wouldn't you know it, it's that cosmonaut again. Once again, we've got something weird related to antimatter being detected from the USA, and once again, everything is leading to December 25th, which was a historic day, as you know. But the history that's taught isn't the history that's actually come to pass. Seems like our friend Talamos figured out that there was what was going down. Take a look at this short email. From Talamos to Cananion, December 24th, 2 XXX. Gosh, I love how they didn't tell me what happened on Christmas. Apparently, years ago, that defined the current geopolitical landscape. Good world building, picturesque and desert time. This isn't my style to message a client before they message me first, but got some intel. I think you're gonna want free of charge even. Today at 4:44 GMT, there's gonna be some serious fireworks, and they aren't holiday themed. Hope your bunker is up to snuff. Be prepared to intense radiation and fallout. I'm infiltrating some deep places. Found some really bad shit. A reckoning is coming, and I don't know why. See you on the other side, kiddo. If we put two and two together here, we can assume that those mass drivers were fired. on Christmas Day. Yes, definitely. Which kind of contradicts history? Oh. Okay. Our cosmonaut friend saw activity the day before. Talamos determined the time of some cataclysm, and now we get to something I've been wanting to show you since you sat down. That was all leading just to this? Wait, this one... You showed me this one before. I thought that was just some graphic. That's them firing the mass driver. That's the lighting up the sky. Though much of the history before the cataclysm has been erased, we know that there existed many nations that were always seeking to dominate each other. The course of humanity was forever altered for the better when on that fateful afternoon, December 25th, two XXX came to pass. This is the only remaining footage of a gamma ray burst that struck the planet nearly directly on that fateful day. For decades, humanity was forced to live underground in bunkers. The survivors numbered in the hundreds of thousands. Even now, the world is largely just small enclaves that number less than 3 million individuals. The process of rebuilding from this grand reckoning began, and at long last, humanity was united. Conflicts of the world erased under the radiation burned away, along with more than 80% of all life on the planet. All life, not just humans. Aurora lights up night sky. Brilliant colors bring fire. This is the same thing, right? No, it's not. This is America and China firing at each other. I saw this one before, but I didn't know the context. Damn. This episode from a history lesson seemed to be edited footage from this lost news report that a contact of ours named Etsplos managed to get a hold of. They are obsessed with truth and justice, so naturally they were livid when they found this. If you compare the two, it's obvious something was covered up. With all of this data, we knew at least who was responsible. A mutually assured destruction with some mysterious antimatter weapon system that both sides had. Oh, okay, so the edited one is the one that seems to be firing from one side of the planet instead of from both. So you can put blame on one nation and not the other. The question is why? Humanity would have to unite regardless of who was at fault. The old nations were gone. Oh, that's odd. Looks like you just got an email from somewhere in the building. From Kanan to Selfless. Ain't got no time to explain right now. They're closing in. They're kind of slow, however. Thanks to you getting the AI warmed up, we just got to the really juicy part. Gonna send a command to her to make her search algorithms more accurately. She might be confused, but I wrote her and I know she'll be fine. A lot of good people have been wrapped up in this. The fragments of what they learned and did are all in the mainframe somewhere. Enough fragments and the truth comes to light. I made sure I can hang on to the bitter end so that eventually the truth could shine upon the darkness. Processing. Over-the-air updates are rough. Probably gave away our coordinates too. That's not Canon style, but something must be up. Anyway, looks like I've been given the ability to search for audio files. Let's see what I can dig up.
I'm Kana, and everything went dark. I went to a bunker like my PI said to, but it's scary here. It's like everything is dying. And it's all their fault. Those nations, they killed everyone and everything. Everything I was getting my fingers into. Those things. Seemed like a fun game, but now it's so quiet outside. I'm keeping my electronics turned off for the foreseeable future, save for one more message I have to get out. I got the last thing from Tolmaios. I sent my message to the cosmonaut, and then rest. All I can do to record how I feel is use this analog relic. Am I going to die?
Ashkario here. I saw a brilliant flash over the ionosphere and immediately ordered the whole station's electronics to be put into low power mode. Initially, I thought it was all just a solar flare or something, but then we noticed all the gamma rays. Those massive drivers fired something, and now it's all dying. Even out here at L1, that much is apparent. I'll check what messages we got before things went dark. Maybe something came up.
Guess Kana and Eska made it. Gamma rays, just like the burst that supposedly hit the planet, confirmed to be some sort of mutually assured destruction scenario here, but why? We're close though, I can feel it. Just found the message that Talamos sent to Kana, referenced. Kana Neon to Eska Kirio, December 31st, to etc. A final request from a survivor. A colleague of mine discovered that you intercepted some important information pertaining to what happened. I don't know you, and you don't know me. I am in a bunker waiting out the fallout. You're on a station in Lagrange Point. I know this is a large ask, but could you sort through any weird communications that you picked up in the past several days? Something big happened, and it wasn't just a freak accident. I know for a fact that the USA and PRC used some kind of mass driver weapon against each other, and that the order to fire probably didn't come from the countries themselves, but from the outside. There is going to be a cover-up on the ground. You're a scientist. You value the truth. At least I hope. I know that the prospect of dying on this tin can, on that tin can, came up. There isn't a good one, but don't let that death be in vain. I'm attaching some reports from all of my findings for you to read. From Talamos to Kana. Intercepted communications. Don't think I have much time left. These wounds are festering. Radiation sickness probably. Whatever that light was is killing everything and everyone. Electrical systems are down all over the place. Hoping this reaches you. Managed to find some more shielded internet infrastructure to route this through. Glad that the nutters that run the Tor network are paranoid types. After I sent the warning, I managed to intercept a signal originating from somewhere in the EU. No definitive location really. It seemed like noises, but I decoded it. Probably all the stimulants I took to help me get past this radiation sickness pain. It said in no uncertain terms, now the world can begin to heal. Thank you. General Assemblyman. There's so much to speculate about here, but all I can personally see is the possibility that the actors within the EU conspire to destroy the major superpowers by having them obliterate each other. There's more though. While trying to find transmitters that were still active around the planet, I managed to pick up some messages from some cosmonaut who seemed to be onto all this. The weapons fired simultaneously, and there was a signal that was detected by Mir 2 and the way out at L1. Someone planned this. It's probably some lunatic who wanted to see a new world. Anyway, my fingers are literally melting away now. Good luck, kiddo. Hope the radiation subsides and you survived. Just thought you'd want to know. See you in the next life. Talamos out. Poor Talamos. Radiation poisoning is a miserable way to die. I've seen the science on a server for it. Nasty stuff. Probably similar to what bit rot would feel like for me. And you humans can't even upload backups of yourselves. It looks like everything is resting on this Eska person now. A final request from a survivor. Response. From Eska Kirio to Kana. January 5th. To Etsetsets. How you got this email address concerns me, but I know a lot of weird things have been happening lately. I looked into what you asked. I found things. I read your speculation and reports, and I'm ready to make a report of my own. I'm sorry that a kid like you had to get caught up in the horrors of the world of adults. I always treated science like a game, the way you seem to treat computer things. None of us wanted a rude awakening, did we? Thank you for being brave enough to try to send this to me. I'll see to it a record exists.
Escario here again. Not sure if anyone will get to hear this message. I used the old recording dubbing device we brought on board to record this. It'll last far longer than any digital data, and this station will outlive us all. If humanity survives, then what I discovered will one day be found on this station, along with my corpse. I'm writing my final report now, on paper first, then into the station's mainframe. Even though the green is fading into a brown, the blue is as brilliant as ever. How arrogant humanity was to think that we were anything but creatures of this world. Maybe the life that survives will be better off. Maybe the cycle starts anew. Hopefully the truth matters.
I like to think so. I don't envy the position Aska found himself in, watching your world dying from afar, knowing that it was manipulation and fear that led it down that path, to know that the gun was fired because someone else entirely wanted to see it burn to the ground. She seems scared of failure, but resolute. I found his final report. Escario, January 15th, 2 To it may concern. I'm an individual caught in a web of conspiracy and terror that saw to the destruction of the world. In the months before an event destroyed my world, there was multiple correspondences between different people, and all of them led to the same conclusion. An unknown actor conspired to see an Australian lab develop a means to contain anti-carbon. This same lab likely designed a mass driver that these anti-carbon containment tubes could be fired from. This same actor used a faction of freedom fighters to take over a mine and use the rare earth metals from it to supply materials for a mass driver to two powerful nations. Both of these nations, under the guise of creating a mass driver system for space travel, used schematics that were identical to construct a genuine article within the same time frame. A test of the mass driver in the United States confirmed its weapons capability after destroying an Australian naval ship. A reporter who was aware of this happened had her findings suppressed. The United Nations seemed unusually fine with both of these nations having these weapons. And at approximately 4:44 on December 25th, the weapons were fired. Whoever this unknown actor was likely orchestrated this happening. The resulting antimatter shells streaked across the atmosphere before hitting their targets in opposing nations. In an instant, the annihilation of matter and antimatter created a huge burst of gamma rays that saw to the mutually assured destruction of everything on the surface of the planet. Over the course of the past 3 weeks, I observed the Earth go from a pale blue dot with some green to a pale blue dot with some brown. This world is dying, and someone conspired with the United Nations to let it happen. If anyone survives, there will be a cover-up. But oxygen is running low now. I can't type anymore. Our station's electronics have been failing day after day. I'm going to sleep and dream of a better world now. Whoever finds this, I hope you can make it happen. That's it then. There's no more time. Maybe what we learn will change the world. Maybe it's just caught up in filters. But someone will see it. And if someone else shares with another, they'll also share it. Truth for the sake of truth is probably meaningless, and it's also much easier to live a lie, isn't it? So much easier not to confront the discomfort in front of us. If you can find solace in heaven, look me up in the wire. I might even give you a little kiss. The game's title was a promise.